Today we are going to be starting with what exactly is backend. We'll be talking about Node.js, which is a framework based on JavaScript for backend web development using JavaScript. And of course, we'll be also talking about various frameworks within this, including things such as Express framework. We'll be also talking about databases and the difference between SQL and NoSQL databases, and how can you actually connect MongoDB, which is one of the most famous NoSQL databases, with a server with an Express framework server that we can create using Node.js. So all of that will be covered today. Again, really important if you want to get started with backend web development using Node.js, and how you can connect your servers with a database as well. So yeah, with that, over to you, Raghav.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Shivai, for the introduction as well as explaining all the key points that we will be covering within this module. So currently we are on the module 5, and this module is basically focused on how we will be connecting to the backend, as how we will be basically getting our hands on with backend, how we will be creating the servers, and after that connecting that server to the front end side. So with the help of APIs as well as some functions. So moving toward, so basically what is a backend? So we have basically studied around what is a front end, like everything that is that a user visualize and they can see. So that all come under front end part. And now the backend part all include the data accessibility. So how data can be accessed as well as displayed upon the screen, and how which type of function is being performed. So that all being done by a backend. So basically, a backend is a data access layer. So data access layer mean that comprises of all the data. Again, have all the operations, functions, and all the part that it receive all the data from the front end through a request. So basically, the structure that we have explained earlier in the previous modules, like the request response system. So backend handles all the requests coming from and then process it, and after that gives the data back, send the data back to the main front end part where the user can display it. So basically, backend handle all the requests that are coming to it, and again why we need a backend. So basically to hide our all data, or that to provide some a sense of security from the outside world. If a user just ping a particular front end, they should not be display all data around that we have. That definitely will be having some privacy issues. So to prevent all this, so we have a backend to handle all that, so that our data should be secured. And the backend is the main part of our computer communication system that will be having, again, that comprises of 80% of all the data that all the modules and the bundle that we make, as well as the front end part that we are seeing, is just only the 20% of the whole project. So basically that again vary from project to project. If we are more focused on the front end type of project, or we are having a UI major perspective project, so basically the front end would be more. But in most of the cases, so basically we have a minimalistic UI front ends, as well as we have a bunch of and a whole huge modules of backend at our servers. So again, how we can connect our front end and the back end is through APIs. So API are the one or the medium through which front end and the back end communicate with each other. So that's why we have initially made the session for the API in module 4, and then we have proceeded with the backend, so that we would be easily communicating with the backend through front end, along with like using APIs. So again, API stand for Application Programming Interface, used to connect front end and the back end. So in this module, so we will be creating servers, and how we will be handling requests coming from an API from the front end, and again how we will be generating some response and getting back to the front end itself. So now coming towards, we are currently, this module is more focused on web technologies. So basically web technology mainly comprises of JavaScript. So JavaScript is the base language through which we can do a full stack development, and we can become a full stack developer. So basically they have some type of some stacks through which we can develop in full stack. So basically there are mon stack as well as mean stack. Initially, let understand the term what full stack mean. Full stack is nothing but we can create a backend as well as front end. Along with we, if a developer know how to deploy the application, where to deploy, and how to generate request response system along with minimalistic UI through which user can display the data and all the operations, so that application can be made that can be visible to the user, that is capable to handle all the data and operations. So that's basically a full stack development, and a person that comprises of all this skill set, that have all the skill set and expertise. So basically that person is known as full stack developer. But now the term monstack and meanstack mean, as I stated, monstack mean MongoDB using uh, the monstack is basically comprises of which tech stack, basically technology stack that we use to create an application, full stack application, like that comprises of front end as well as back end. So we have a MongoDB, that's a database. Again, we can have a different set of database like MySQL or Redis or something. So this is MongoDB using Expressjs. Express is a framework, again using React.js as a front end library, along with Node.js as a backend language or the server-sided language. And again, for the mean stack, it's nothing but we just replace the front-end technology to AngularJS. So basically, learning about what is the difference between library and a framework. So library is loosely comprises of all the functions. So basically, we have a set of functions earlier defined, and we just call that function, and we can call these function anywhere in our project. But using a framework has a proper defined set of rules, so we have to use those particular protocols while working in a framework. So basically, uh, also like a framework comprises of all the component that is required to create an application, and the library is a single instance that just solve a particular problem. For example, in the form of React, so basically we have a component mode of system. So basically we create component for a particular like button and something. So for linking to other document, for like having a router something, so we have to create another set of we have to download another set of library to work in the in monstack environment, but in meanstack. So basically Angular is a whole set of framework. So we have all the functions that are required to make the front end application. So this is a basic difference between how monstack and meanstack can be differ from each other. And also these tech stack that we are using is based on JavaScript, totally based on JavaScript. So if you know JavaScript, so you can do a full stack, you can make a full stack application by using these stacks. So again, you should have a prior knowledge of these technologies. And yeah, so coming back to the next slide. So basically, we would be more focusing towards Node.js. So we have this module dedicated towards the backend side. So we will be having the initial. So basically, we have done JavaScript till now, and we know how we write the JavaScript syntax as well as we how to perform some basic operations in JavaScript. And now, this is a Node.js is a clever technology, like how we can use JavaScript outside the browser. So basically, it Chrome has the V8 engine. So basically, developer has just picked that V8 engine and make it in a module and written in C++. So basically, we can through this Node.js environment. So basically, we can run our JavaScript code in our servers, or for example, in our local PC without being in a browser. So that's how Node.js is so powerful, And again, that is compared to other languages, for example, uh, C++, Java, and Go, and many more. So basically, what is the speciality of Node.js? So why we will be using Node.js, and why it is so much popular nowadays? So again, we have the same language is being used on the front end. So if you have the prior knowledge of front end and you have worked with JavaScript, so you can easily navigate to the Node.js and also start working with the backend stuff. So that's why if a developer is familiar with UI technology, web technology, so definitely they can switch from one technology to another. So that's why Node.js is being constantly increasing its popularity. So again, it's a cross-platform. So it is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, and every platform that we have. And again, it's open source. We can definitely contribute to the code base, and also we can change the code as per we want. And again, this is the same, the JavaScript, running JavaScript outside the browser and run on V8 engine. So basically, now coming toward the package managers. So this is a main concept. So what a package manager is nothing but, as the term suggests, so a package manager just manages packages. So a package comprises of libraries that can be like solving a for solving a particular problem. If like if we I want to route from one place to another, so I have a library. If I want to component type of system, so I have another library, for example React. And again, for requesting from a API, so I have different bunch of library like Axios or something. So basically, package manager is nothing but that manages all the package and bundle them together in a single platform.
Yeah.
So in each and every language, so we have different package managers. For example, in Python we have pip, and again in Node.js we have npm. Npm is nothing but the node package manager, and Python have pip. So basically they have a particular platform through which they handle all the packages. So we have a version kind of system through which they all the packages have version, and we can download that particular version from the database. And again, for PHP we have composer, and again we have a bunch of package manager for each and every language
Yeah,
through
and
which
just
we
to give
enrich.
context about that, for example, if you have come up with C++, you might be familiarized with, header files. So the context is that each and every language that we have, it can only have just limited amount of things that you will, use when you just use it from scratch. Otherwise, if you expect like these pre-built functions to be there included with the language, it will make the size of the package of that file very large. So these languages, for example, within Java you have packages that you can install, right? And again, for specific purposes like mathematical functions, like in Python we have like dedicated packages for like showing graphs. So that is what is the main essence of all of these packages. Now these come in different forms for every language. For example, for Rust we have cargo, right? We have so basically these are different ways in which you can add external additional functionality to your programming language by installing these relevant packages.
So basically, coming toward the next slide. So, like, we would be having some knowledge around what is the database, how we will be using that, and why we use database. So basically, database is nothing but a platform over which we store our data. So basically, database, if you go on the base scale or the foundation, so database is nothing but a simple file storages. So we create a simple file or module, and over which we store our data. So that's nothing but a database. But again, having specific functions through which we can get the database and perform that special operation like get, post, put, delete, and many more. So that comes under the database operation, and that comprises of the whole database. So a database have like it stored the data, and along with we can perform some specific operation in minimum amount of time span in order to get our data back. After, if I want to get a particular name from the database, so basically we can fetch the name from the database, and that would be provided us with a list or something. And if we have a particular id, so we can get a single instance from the database. And again, the database comprises of uh, that have two type of database that we use generally. So basically having a SQL as well as NoSQL. So basically, the common difference between SQL and NoSQL is basically SQL is a structured query language and NoSQL is no structured query language. So in SQL, we have to write a particular language in order to execute the database data, and again to extract the data from the database. But in NoSQL, we have a set of functions in order to get our data or perform some special operations. And again, like talking generally in the computer architecture, so basically SQL is more towards uh, like scaling it, like if the data is increased in the SQL server, so basically the load on the RAM as well as the storage increases. But in NoSQL database, basically we have the concept of sharding. So in sharding, we have we just create a new server to store the same instance of data, and that data is again linked with each other through a common id. So basically we have a vertical scaling in SQL as well as we have the horizontal scaling in NoSQL. And again, so the term that we will be focusing on is the MongoDB, the database that is most popular nowadays for having performing operations on the data and storing it using some special functions that they have. And again, we would be more revolving around the MongoDB as well as the Node.js. So how we will be connecting Node.js server to the MongoDB, and again how we can fetch the data from the MongoDB and again transfer back to the server or the front end side. So currently we have completed 4 modules, and now we would be proceeding with our next module, module 5. So quickly I will be creating a new folder with the name module 5. And now, yeah. So like I am changing my main or terminal directory to the module 5 so that I can make uh, all the operations within this particular folder. Or let me open this particular folder. Yeah, cool. So we are in the module 5 folder, and now I will be having, like I will be creating a simple Node.js file. So JS file with the name of index.js. So basically I will be creating the new server in this index.js file, and we will be executing all the queries as well as the function within this. So if my screen size is a bit low or is it correct, please have a response. And yeah, so let me increase the size by 1.
Yeah, I think it should be
And
fine.
great. So I would be opening a terminal. So we will be mostly revolving around with the terminal as well as the initial code base. As we are working with the backend stuff, so we should be familiar with the basic terminal command as well as how we will be working within this particular module. So basically, in order to open a terminal, so what you will do is just go to this terminal tab and the upper title bar, and again you can click on this new terminal to open it, or you can just press control backtick on uh, Windows as well as control backtick on Mac again. Yeah, so Let me check the directory. So we have successfully created a simple index.js file. So again, how we can run the JavaScript within our PC. So basically before that, so you have to install Node. So basically where you can find that is simple Node.js on the official website. So basically click on this download link and just uh, preferably you should download the LTS version. LTS stand for the simple latest stable version. And again, just download for either Mac, Windows, or Linux, and just download from that. And again, get back to our terminal. So what you will find is just if you write node hyphen hyphen version, so that you will be given the latest version that is being installed in your PC. And again, along with this node that you have installed, so basically there is a package manager that is automatically being downloaded to your local PC. So that's nothing but the npm. So you can also check the version for the npm. So basically that's 6.14.11, and again for the node it's 14.616.0. So yeah, now getting back to the index.js file. So how I can execute JavaScript code in the local terminal. So uh, with the help of Node only. So having simple commands like console.log for printing a particular statement. So this is a basic command that in every language, so printing a particular statement over the console. So basically how I can execute is just you have to type the node, that is the node run environment, JavaScript environment, and again followed by a space along with the file name. Along you have to give the whole directory, or if you are already in the current directory. So I have already index.js in this current directory, so I would be writing node space index.js, having the total whole file name executed. So basically that calls hello world on the console. So yeah, but if you do remember, so we have another function alert in our front end. But in this alert method, so basically uh, alert is a function of window object. So window is nothing but all the function that comprises of a browser. So basically alert gives us a pop-up uh, in that browser, but we does not have the DOM within the Node.js. So basically we don't have this particular function alert in this. If we try to run this function in this, so basically it give us an error like alert is not defined. So basically, alert is meant for browsers only. So we cannot execute DOM objects here. DOM means document object model again, and that's only meant for the browser sided. So we cannot use window object like this. So again, getting back toward the main. So we have the Express server over here. So the term that we have just learned about, let me increase screen size by one more. So again, we have now learned about the term MERN stack. So MERN again mean the MongoDB. So we would be focusing on MongoDB, Expressjs, and we have React.js and Node.js. So, like neglecting this React.js, so we would be focusing on these three technologies like Node.js, Express.js, as well as MongoDB. So basically, the main JavaScript file that is being written, so that would be compiled within the Node.js environment, and we should know how Node.js works. That's the simple. Uh, if you have the foundation of JavaScript, so basically you know Node.js. And again, Express.js is nothing but having special. Express.js is a whole framework through which we design our API system, as well as having a request response system set up within our Node.js server. And again, we would be focusing toward NoSQL database, that's MongoDB, and we would be connecting the front. backend server sided to our database, and then we would be having some data transmission from here to there. So basically, initially I would be creating a simple Express server. So how I can create it? So basically, you will be using now the npm module or npm package manager. So how? So basically, I would be deleting this. So getting back to this. Yeah. So initially, Node.js do not have any library or framework pre-installed. They do have some particular functions that is already available in the Node.js environment. But as I've stated, like Express is a framework. So basically, I have to download a framework code from somewhere. So basically that why npm comes in place. So I would be writing this npm install express. Express stand for Expressjs, and again creating APIs request response system. So we'll be focusing toward that. And again, when I will be having in npm install, so I have written npm I express. So that means npm, we are stating npm node package manager to install this particular library given with library name. So you can just go to npm and you can just click on the first link. So you can find thousand and lakhs of packages already pre-installed, and you can download this from this npm package manager. So basically, I would be writing Express and again going to the first response that is there. So npm install Express. So that's nothing but used for creating simple server. And again, so I would be in. So priorly for installing, so I would be just writing npm init. So what it do is, uh, take a look over the Explorer side on the left hand side. So when I just initiate like this command, like npm init, so what it do is it asks for a particular references, like what should be the package name, what should be the command, and again just by clicking on enter, so basically it have some particular function going on, and again that creates a new file package.json. So this package.json is the main file through which all the information as well as command can be executed within the server. So we have the package.json file that is being generated from npm init command written in the terminal. So what we have is we have this name. So we have the name of the module that we have. Like it can be changed to any of the name. Like I would be writing Express server or like Scalar Express server. And again, the package name should be in lowercase, so Scalar Express server. So this name indicates the name that is there. I can also create my own library, and again if I want to upload my code to this npm, so this is the main name that everyone can see. So basically if anyone want to install a new library, so they just have to write npm install, then this name scalar express server. So by just hitting enter, so they can download. After I deploy my code to the main npm servers. So basically next is the version. So we have a version kind of system over here. So if you see in this, so the current version for the Express is 4.17.2. So basically for this particular package that we are making, so its initial version is 1.0.0, and again that can be incremented by 1. And that should be manually incremented if we update any code base and deploy it to server. So basically writing description what this library do or this code base do. And again, this is the main where this index.js is a main file to execute. And again, we have bunch of scripts over here. So I would be getting back to this. So we have the author along with we have the license. So author, you can write your name. to define who has made this particular contribution and made this library. And again, for license, which type of license have you used? So we have MIT ISC license and bunch of more license. So through which we can declare this particular module to our npm. And again, now coming back to this script, uh, so basically, if you see over here, so we have this JSON. JSON is nothing but that we have studied earlier in the previous module. So how we just create uh, a JSON from simple objects. So basically, if you see over here, so we have this an object. So we have a key as well as we have a value over here. And again, that denotes, but the only difference between the simple JS object and the JSON is the key is again here bounded by these double inverted commas. So again, now coming back to the script. So this script is nothing but for easily handling our servers. So basically, I don't want to type each and every time when I run this index.js server. So I have to write like node index.js and hit enter. So it would be executing the main all the function that is contained within this index.js file. But I don't want to like separately type index.js again and again. Instead of that, I would be sharing a particular script. So what I do is, so I just create a new script, name as start. So this, whenever I call this command start, so the server should be or index.js file should be automatically run within the Node.js environment. So what I will do is instead of writing node space index.js within the terminal, I will be writing this within this start command. So I have written node space index.js. So this is the main terminal command that would be executing. And how I can use this start command is again going back to the terminal and again writing instead of node index.js, this time I would be using this package manager npm. So I would be writing npm space. I would be just simply copy and pasting this start command. So I would be writing npm start. So that would be executing this command. So just by hitting enter. So again, it has initiated a particular server. Node has defined like what is the name of the what is the name of the package that we are using. Again, taken from this particular name, scalar express server, and again at the rate sign denoting the particular version. So basically, we have the version 1.0.0, and again, what we have run is a start script, and where the module has been taken, the whole folder name, and again, which command we have run. So we have run node index.js. Again, that would npm comprises of all this structure as well as all the data that is being contained within the package.json file. So instead of again and again writing node index.js, I would be just writing npm start. And again, this is a common terminology where I have just defined the file name as index.js. It can be termed as big as uh, any file name like MongoDB Express server.js or something. So again, if the file name changes in this particular module, so I don't have to use that particular file name and I don't have to remember that particular file name and type that within the terminal to execute that file. Instead, I would be just copy and pasting that file name within this start command, and I just have to remember a single command npm start to initiate the server or initiate this index.js file or this any intended file that is being written within this start command. And again, that can have our various steps of command, and we can also use our customized command and we can execute that uh, through npm. Again, getting back to index.js, so I would be initiating with installing the express. So npm install, I stand for install, or I can write install again, uh, express. Again, when I hit enter, so it would be downloading all the code base. And now let's get back to the Explorer. So two new files have been created over here. So again, if you see over here, so we instead of these two files that already been created, index.js and package.json. Again, I have just created a single file, index.js, and I have written a command npm init to initialize this package.json. So this package.json file has automatically been created by npm init command. And again, when I install these two modules like npm install express, so I have just installed a single library module. So that have created two new files. So initially the node modules. So this is the main dependency, all the module as well as all the code base and the library that we have installed within our server. So that is contained within the node underscore modules folder. So if you delete this folder, so all the dependency as well as all the library or framework that you have downloaded would be removed. So all the code base is contained within this node module folder. And again, this package.json, package log.json contain uh, rather all the information along with the library and the previous library that we have used within this. And for now, you can neglect this particular package log.json file. Instead of focus on package.json, so you would be working with the package.json file for initiating your project. So if you see over here, so we do not have this dependency key before prior of installing. So this dependency contain the all the library that is being installed within this node module folder and along with this particular version name. So we have the library name express along with the version name 4.17.2. So the package JSON automatically gets updated when we install the new library. And again, now coming back to our index.js, so creating a simple express server. So I would be just turning off this explorer. So again, just for test, so I would be writing npm start, so it should show nothing. Cool. So nothing is shown. And again, this two line will be shown at every instance when we hit npm start. That denotes again the configuration that we have already done within package JSON. Now we would be creating a simple express server. So for that, so I would be declaring a simple variable name as express. So for this, I have to import that particular library that is installed via npm install express. So I have to import the library within this index.js file. So how can I import that is by using a require keyword. So we have a function name as require. So require, what it do is it basically take a particular module. If I want to have express, so basically express is pre-installed within the node module. So what it has done is I have just written the npm package name, and require function has automatically taken into consideration that I have to go in the node module folder and take I have to search for this express library. So here so it will be executing all the express code, and that would be imported within this particular file. So again, if you have studied in Java as well as C++, so we have some import commands or define commands. So to basically to import other library components within or importing other modules in that file. So we have uh, just imported this express code base into our index.js file. So again, I would be executing this by creating a instance. So basically express, you can denote it as a simple function, or you can refer it to as an object. So I would be creating a new application with the help of express. So for that I have to call this express function. So what it has done is it has created a new instance of express. So basically, if, again, getting back toward the basics. So you can compare this express variable to a class. So basically, class is a whole bunch of a whole bunch of data methods and properties. So we have made a particular object or instance from that class and imported all the functionality that the express function contain within this particular app variable. So this app would be executing all the server, as well as that would be handling all the requests coming from the server. And again, if we go back to the Chrome, if you don't remember how to initialize a particular server, so again, going back to the npm gs.com slash packages along with that package name. So we definitely have the boilerplate code that is again available within this particular module. So either you can copy or paste that instance from the server, or from npm.js website, or you can create your own. So basically, creating your own gives you an idea how things work in real life. And again, you will be knowing how what that particular function do in order to get all the things done. So that we should not be having an iterative or non-used code already written within our main servers. So that would obviously increase our server size. We try to minimize the size as well as the time complexity in like having some performance on our data. And now for this, so I would be initializing my server by just writing app dot listen, and over listen, so I would be defining a particular port. So if you have worked with any of the servers, so basically, or simple uh, local PC server. So basically, what we have is, or like I can give you an example of live server. So basically, we have this particular port ready, or particular domain ready, like 127.0.0.1, denoting this particular current local PC, creating this into a server. And again, uh, this particular IP address denotes to this local PC. And again, in this local PC, so we have a bunch of applications running at the background. So how those applications are separated from each other, so that the data is not being shared among those applications. So that is done by the port system. So this port basically separate all the. So basically, the port can be from 0 to 65,500 something. So basically, we can define any of the port from in that range. But this port basically separate each and every application from each other. And again, this particular IP address denote this local PC. And again, if you think of the of a bigger level, so basically, this have been replaced by the domains. So that we write https google.com, that denotes a particular IP address, uh, that denotes to a IP address that can be 192.168 point something, that can be any address along with the port number. Again, every server has their own configuration. We can configure all the server according to our needs. And again, we are creating a server over here that would be listened over a 3000 port. So basically, instead of 3000, so for an example, so I can go to any of the port like 4400. If you want to start your server at this particular instance, so how can we test is like just by writing npm start. So what it do is it simply start a server, but starting a server, it does not give us anything. So basically at this point of time, so it is listening for a request that is coming towards it. So if I type 127.0.0.1, point one, a colon basically separate the IP address with the port, colon. So I would be just copy and pasting it at there. So entering that, so it gives me error like cannot get, as we have not defined this particular endpoint where it should go. I would be defining all that in this, but at this point of time, uh, if you just like close the server by pressing Control C. So Control C basically kill the server that have been started, and if you hit refresh over here, so you can see this site cannot be reached. And again, starting again the server and hitting refresh. So again, you will be seeing this cannot get slash. So slash means nothing but simply we are using a slash after this port number. So when I hit enter, so basically it go to this particular string or endpoint. So prior to that, so basically if you are using Express server, so that's why you are able to view this particular string visible over the screen. But if you are not using the Express server, or if you are creating the simple server with the HTTP module, so internally, Express also uses a HTTP module for defining all the stuff. But if you are using a simple or other services, so basically the page can be different from each other, or you have to handle your at your own. So basically, that's why Express gives us a sense of complex simplicity in term of error handling as well as displaying of stuff. And again, how can I get a response within this particular URL? If, for example, if you go to google.com, again, go to this three dots and more tools, and then click on developer tools. And I have stated a thing over here. Like just go to the network tab. So I can increase the size of the network tab. Now, if I hit refresh, so basically, in the alt tab, so when I hit refresh, so the first file that is being executed is www.google.com. So when we have requested this particular URL, so what it has given us is a particular response of the whole HTML document. So the first step of server is returning something to the user, so that they should not they cannot see this particular any of the stuff that are basically having doing operation at the backend. So basically to use this, so I would be writing just app dot get. So again, this get, if you do remember the term when we have used Postman, so we have a bunch of method over there like get, put, post, delete. So this is where we are using our simple get request. So basically, when you are at google.com at the browser, so anything you type within the URL bar, so that is what a get request means. A get request is visible to everyone, and again a response is publicly available, and that can be again restricted by some means. And but for at generally all the requests that is being given from the browser, that's the get request. And that's why we are using a get function over here. We are just declared a simple variable that that have taken an instance of the Express server, and again we are simply creating a simple get request, so that anyone, if they just view this particular URL, so they should see something, at least some hello world or type of thing. So for that, what I would be doing is, so it have a simple get request, and in our like the Expressjs Node.js packages. So if you see over here, so we have two arguments that is being given in this function. So get function intake two argument. Again, if you hover over this, so you can see a simple bunch of operations that we can do within this particular get function, and we can pass any number of argument within it. So the first argument that it takes is the endpoint. So basically the endpoint that you see over here. So if I write slash Raghav, so I can make an endpoint of my own. So slash Raghav. So it can throw an error responding like cannot get slash Raghav. So the first argument that the get function take is the endpoint. Basically, this particular string represent uh, us an endpoint. So where the request should be thrown. If so, basically, I would be just typing slash. Slash stand for simply this first screen that you will be seeing. So I want to throw something. So initially, so I would be having a simple callback function. So the first argument is the endpoint or denoting a particular string when I have hit this particular URL or path. So this function should be executed. So that's why I've just written a simple endpoint over here. And again, I would be passing a callback function. So callback function have two arguments in it. So basically request as well as response. Request mean every data that is coming from the front end to us, that is all the data is being contained within the request. Either it will be a body query or something. And the and response mean what we want to send from the server and what type of data that we want to send. So basically, we can handle that with the response keyword over here. So initially, we don't want to request something. Either we just want to respond with a simple HTML file. So what I will be doing is I will be creating a simple HTML file over here, and again, okay. So by mistake, my VS Code have been turned down. As I pressed command Q over here, so we have a bunch of shortcut keys through which we can perform some operations. So yeah, again it's opened. Cool. So yeah, so I would be just writing leave this error. So I would be just opening the terminal, and again I would be creating a simple HTML document by simply writing HTML, and again I would be writing a simple body in it with a term denoting a simple hello world. Okay, so if I try to run this particular HTML file, so what I will get is a simple hello world written over here with a special uh, URL given over the browser. But I want to return this hello world when we reach this particular URL. So what I'll do is I will send back a response from that server. So how I can do is just by writing response. So this keyword should be same as that of the same keyword that I've written over here. So this keyword can be changed to any of the form. Either you can also write your own name, ABC or XYZ or something Raghav. So you can again use this same function, but for relevance keyword, relevant keyword. So basically, I have written rest stand for response. Again, this particular uh, function should return something. So again, it return send file, and again by send I would be sending a particular HTML file within it. So for sending file, so I have a bunch of operation that I want to do. So basically I initially have to target the index.html file to this document. So how I can do is that is just by typing creating a new module. So in Node.js environment, so we have a new, we already have a bunch of functions pre-installed. So that's nothing but a path. So you just have to use the path function just by uh, requiring this path. So you just have to write path dot join. So join basically, we I want to target that index.html file. So initially I have to track that index.html file where it is present. So I would be writing this uh, dir name. Dir name initially stand for the current directory that the index.js is present. So again, if we go back to the Explorer, the index.js file and the index.html file is already in the same folder. So what I would be writing is nothing but I would be referencing, I would be just typing that index.html file, like it is present in this current directory. And again, just by clicking semicolon, oh, and again starting my server and hitting enter. So my server has been started. Again, going back to that, and when I hit refresh, so again it has thrown me a simple HTML document. If you see over here, so a request have been taken to the server. So a request have been sent to this particular URL running on 4400 port. So it has given me a response of an HTML document that is further being displayed over the screen. So this is how simple servers work for requesting a particular file or something. Either instead of HTML document, that can be a CSS, JavaScript document, or that can be a file, image, document, font, or something else. That can be any of the file that is being returned from the server. But for this instance, I want to separate front end from my backend. I don't want to display the front end from the backend. So that's why here when API or simple REST API comes in place. So again, in the previous module, I have explained you about how REST API works and what they contain within their response. So instead of this send file function, so what I would be using is simple JSON function. So this JSON function, in this I can return any object. So object can be as, like I would be creating a simple object denoting name Raghav and email abc.abc@gmail.com. And again, I can return this particular object from this response.json function, and that again being visible on the screen. But now you have to understand a single point. Each time when I just save the index.js file, so I have to restart my server. So basically restarting mean I have updated my code. So this particular file execute within the RAM. So the RAM is being loaded with this index.js function and the file is being executed. But every time you make changes, so you have to delete the initial memory that is already present in the RAM, and you have to reinitialize your whole function with a new one, updated function, and that should be executed within the RAM. So that's why you have to rerun the command npm start in order to execute the new changes. So for example, so initially I have run this command. So when I hit refresh, so it has provided me a JSON. So JSON with simple name and email. Again, that I have been thrown from this response function. But now, if I change my if I change the name to Shivai and I hit refresh, again Raghav is visible over the screen. How? As I'm not restarted my server after doing the changes. The already this object is being created and stored within the RAM. So that would obviously pick from the RAM instead of executing the whole index.js file. So now when I have restarted the server, so when I hit refresh, so it will give Shivai. And again, going to any other URL, so that would again throw a error of like cannot get slash abc. So instead of simply writing slash. So I will be writing just simply slash abc and again restarting my server. When I hit refresh over here, so again at this point of time abc thrown me a particular JSON file instead of this simple slash. As I've deleted this, I've converted this simple slash to slash abc. So this is whole case sensitive as well as the keywords sensitive. So I have to declare each and every endpoint separately in order to get it through. So basically, if now I have changed this index.js to again back to the simple slash so that our code would be visible over the screen when we hit that particular endpoint with slash. Now, when I started my server, so it should give me that I have started my server or something like that. So how can I do is this app.listen function takes two arguments. Again, the first one is the port, at which port it should be running. Again, when I change this port to 4300 and again restart my server, so again when I hit refresh, so it will give this site cannot be reached. But if I change my port number from 4400 to 4300, hit enter. So again my data is visible over the screen. And now, so the first argument is the port. The second argument is again a callback function. So this listen again takes two argument. First one, initial one is the port number, at which port I should be running my server. And again, this port basically separate each application running on the local PC from each other, separate each application. So basically having a callback function. So callback function is when the server starts. So what it should do? So when the server start, it should log us like server started. At least we should get a response like something is being declared or the server is ready to get the request. So basically that's why we have done a response. So as soon as I hit npm start, so you can see over here like the server started response have been given to us, like the server has started and now we can make our own request. Yeah, and now like getting back to the Postman. So you have earlier, I have earlier also explained about Postman, how it is being used. So basically, at this point of time, it is mainly used for testing APIs. So how our APIs will be working, how it can be visualized, and all of the stuff. So basically, we have a bunch of methods over here. So we can definitely have a get, post, put, delete, and other method. We can directly test from the Postman. But if you go back to the Chrome, and again when you test uh, just a second, so I have to make this available on my screen. Cool. So if I go back to the Chrome and if I have changed this get function to post function, now now I will be restarting my server. So server has been started, my endpoint remain the same, that is slash, but I have just changed my method. So when I hit refresh, so the method that the browser intakes is only the get request. Rather, each and every request will be done by either by code or by doing some special operations over it. We cannot have a post or any other method request from this URL bar. Instead, for testing this post API out, so basically what we do is we just change this method from get to post, and I would be pasting this same URL over there. And when I click on send, so basically that return me the data. But if I change again my method to get, so that return me nothing but a simple HTML document stating cannot get slash. Again, the method should be same. So that's why representing each method and differentiating each method from each other. So explaining that get method is an exposed method. Like we can obviously restrict this by at the for the security purposes, but in general, get request is an exposed method. Everyone can see what is there in the get request and the data that is being returned from this request. Post request do have a sense of encryption within it, and again as similar as the put request. Again, why we have a bunch of requests over a bunch of methods over here. So in order create we cannot get, create, delete, or update a particular data in the through the API through a single endpoint as well as a single method. That's why we need a bunch of method to perform some special operations for separating get, post, put, delete, simple CRUD operations. And again, like simply by creating app.get. So now how I can get a particular variables from the front end to the back end. Like if I want to transfer a data from front end to back end, so what I can do is, so using again the post method. So again, post method contain a particular body element. So body contain all the data parameters that are being given from the server, or from the front end to the server. So just go to the body part and click on the row. So here what we will be defining our own JSON. So I would be creating a simple JSON over here, and I would be having simple uh, name. Again, text can be converted to JSON name. Raghav. Again, so when I click on send, so till now I have not received my particular response from here. But if you check out this request element here, where our request keyword will come in use. So basically I don't want to have this. Instead, I want to check what have been come from the request. So I would be taking body out of it. Body is equal to request dot body. So I would be consoling this, printing that within the console. So I would be restarting my server. When I hit send, okay, object is not defined here. Again, we have to parse that particular JSON operation from this. So till that time, it will be having the result as undefined. And again, but instead of that, we have some special parameter which we can use. So basically for using this particular JSON, so we have to define the JSON within our own Express module. But before that, so you can test out this parameter function. So instead of getting back to the simple value, so we can write like this particular endpoint along with question mark. Question mark represent all the query parameter that we are sending from the server. So we have the name as well as the value. This is a simple key value pair, and that can be like email ID, email as abc@gmail.com. Again, all each and every key value pair separated by a single ampersand symbol. And again, how can I get this data is simply by corresponding to this query. So again, restarting the whole server. Again, I would be changing the request back to get, and again I would be changing this post to get simple npm start. Now, when I just click hit send, so this is what I get, a whole bunch of object that is being available to us through our server, through our request that is being made from our front end side. So you can compare this, the front end request have been given. So basically Postman is for testing. So you can compare this like a front end have given us a request, and here what we have done. simply we have console our the object that is being returned and the data that have been returned from our server. So now I want to store it somewhere. So how can I do is by using a kind of database. So that can be a simple MongoDB database. So again, you have to perform some operation in order to get our MongoDB installed as well as used along with this Node.js application. So for that, I have to restart this VS Code as it is displaying me unsupported. So I would be restarting that and again going back to my module 5. Awesome. So when I hit, okay, let me reinstall it. Yeah, now it should work fine. Great. So yeah, for getting my MongoDB connected to the main file and along with having some basic simple operation to be performed. So what I'll do is simply I would be writing, uh, I would be installing the new module name as Mongoose. So basically, MongoDB is the name of the database and it has the npm package through which we perform our functions in order to get our data to the database and get it back and have some operations over that database data stored in the MongoDB. So it have the package name named as Mongoose. So I would be installing that Mongoose npm install Mongoose, and again when I hit that, so it would be installing. So till it installed, so I would be having a simple reference to the Mongoose package. So Mongoose. So Mongoose represent the simple ORM system. So how it can be used? So each and every documentation is already given here. So you can directly use this simple Mongoose document implemented within your server, or you can test it out from here. So basically, getting back to the main code base. So we have successfully installed our Mongoose package in our node modules. And again, if you get back to this package.json file, you can see a new dependency have been installed with the name of Mongoose along with the version. And now, so initially we have to import our Mongoose over here. So instead of uh, creating all the file to be bunched up and contained within this index.js file, so what I will do is I would be creating modules. I would be having a modular type of functions. So what I will do is I would be going back to this explorer and I will be creating a new file named as connect to database.js. Okay, so it will be contains a simple function. So name is connect to database. Again, the file name can be same as that of the function or can be different based on your approach. And again, which this function do is simply connects to the MongoDB database, and I would be writing the code. And initially, I have to export this particular function to so that I can import from this file. So what I can do is like I can write this module dot exports. So what this command do is it automatically by default export this function so that I export this function from this file and we can import it anywhere within our project. And again, module.export, I have to define which module I want to export. So I want to export this particular function. So I can directly go back to this. I can give a reference to, so initially return res dot send file. So in order to have a reference to it, and again, their name along with slash index.html. So let me turn off this. So having a proper reference. So I would be commenting out this for the future references. So if you want to check the code out, you can go to the Scalar Academy GitHub and you can go to the module 5 folder in that, and again you can check all the source code in future. So I would be uploading this code block to that. And now, so getting back to what it, so I would be importing that particular connect to database module over here. So I would be writing connect is equal to require. Again, the function can be as you want. So require, and where the function is being present. So I would be referencing to that file, particular file where the function is being present and where from where it is being imported. So again, I have to give whole path for that particular file which is being used. But if our function or library is already being installed within the Node module, so I don't have to give that specific path. Instead, I can just type that particular module name here. So what I will do is after when my app starts, so I would be calling this particular function over here, and that would that can have me displayed like connected to the database. In to test that, so I would be just writing npm start in order to test the current implementation. Like, yeah, successfully connected to the database. So now we will be connecting to the database in real. So I would be just declaring the module that we have currently installed. So I would be requiring that from our node modules. So I have declared that. And now what I will do is I would be just writing mongoose dot connect. So it have a function connect that connects to a particular database that we have. Now it take simple URI or a simple string where our database is present. Now it is a bit complex part, not much complex, but rather it can be generalized. You just have to go. Either you can create your own URI from the online server, or you can download it locally by just writing Mongo Compass. So just click on the first URL, MongoDB Compass, and again you can download this. So this is basically the GUI part, that is graphic user interface, that provide us an interface to work with MongoDB. So you also have to install simple MongoDB. Install simple by installing your MongoDB. So MongoDB will be installed within your local PC, and you can connection to the database. So we have this particular function in order to connect, and we have to give a particular URL string in order to connect to the Mongo database. So you have to download the MongoDB Compass from here, and it will look like something like this. So it will be initiating, and then from here this is your local string that you will be working in. So basically it have their own protocol. So basically we have bunch of protocol like TCP IP or simple HTTP HTTPS protocol or WSS protocol, as we have discussed earlier. So it have their own protocol named as MongoDB, and again have their own IP address along with the different port number over which that MongoDB server would be running. and we have successfully connected. At this time we have successfully connected to the database, but now we have to define the name of the database. So the name would can be simple scalar. Okay, so as soon as we have done this, and now I don't want to start this command at this particular instance. Instead, again, this connect function intake the second argument as a callback function. So if you can see over here, the first argument is the URI string that contains the main location of the Mongo database, at which port or at which server it is being running. And the second argument is the callback function. So as soon as MongoDB is successfully connected to the node server, so this function would be executed. So I want to display it as console.log connected to database. So at this point of time, as soon as we will be connecting to our database, so I can see this response as connected to the database. So now let's test this implementation. So at this point of time, we have successfully connected our node server to our Mongo database, and now and also we have created some a modular type of approach, like we have created a connection to database in another file, and we have imported that module from that file, and again uh, run that particular command after initialization of our server. So that's how things in real life approach toward a particular project creation. So now we have successfully created to our Mongo database, and now what we can do is we can have some operation, like we can take the data and let it get it stored within our database. But uh, prior to that, we have to define a schema. Schema is nothing but like defining a particular object, what that object would be containing. Like for example, if I want to create a simple uh, field that consists of name as well as email, that should be stored. So that definitely should store these two fields. None other than no other field can be stored within that database. So I would be initially having a new schema named at schema.js. I would be creating a simple user schema. So prior to that, so again I have to import the main Mongo module, and again so that would be required, and again so I would be referencing to the main Mongoose uh, module, and now I would be creating a new instance of this. So Mongoose package contains a new class name as schema. So what I would be writing as mongoose.schema. And again, while declaring classes, so previous was one was function when I have declared this express and called it. So basically, it have made the instance, but again, it do have some prior prototype object already contained. So uh, in this schema, so schema is a class. So to initialize this schema class in a new instance, so I would be writing a new keyword or before that, and again, so that would be initiated having the initial value. So what this schema would contain? So this schema would contain a special type of entries, like what type of object it would be containing. So initially it would be a simple, for example, first name. uh, just like neglect the value part, so we would be coming towards the value part. So initially we would be creating a object. So it would be containing the first name as well as the last name along with email id. Okay, so now let's come toward the value part. So what its value should be? So its value should be what type of data this first name should contain. So Again, it would be object. Again, we would be defining the type. If you can see, it already have the type keyword, so it would be containing a type of like a string. And again, we can also give a default value to it. It can have a default value of simple, rather it simple empty string. Let it be. Now again, for other two value also. So we have this same type string and default empty. And again, we can also give a new field name as phone number to it, like phone number, and we can give it as type number, and we can default it to zero value. And again, now we have to export this particular schema to our Mongo database. So how can I do is like declaring a particular data set to it. Like I can just type as I've written it earlier, like module dot exports is equal to, we would be calling this function from the mongoose. So as we have created this particular schema, new schema, so we have to create a model for it. So mongoose have a new function, has already have a function named as model. So we would be creating a new model with the name of user, and again we would be declaring what user model should contain. User model should contain this particular schema. So I would be just referencing to it as user schema. So at this point of time, we have successfully created our schema, what type of data that this user model would be containing, and we can have some special operation perform on this user schema. So now, uh, getting back to our original server. So at this point of time, we have created our server, and yeah, we have successfully connected to the database. Now getting back to this local host. So by default, port number of MongoDB is 27017, and we will be connecting to this. So it have a bunch of module already present. So but if you see over here, so I have connected to this uh, database name as scalar, but there is no entry named as scalar. So till now, our database have not been created till any operation have been performed. So now we would be performing our first operation in order to get our values. So what it should have is, so initially getting back to the Postman, so we have to value name and email. So I would be just getting this name and email from our request dot query. So what this do is basically destructure this. It can be returned as like cause name is equal to request dot query dot name, and again for email it can be written as email, like this. I have prevented these two lines to be formed as request dot query is an object dot query is an object containing two variables, name as well as email. So instead of writing dot name dot email, so I have destructured these two property and stored it within this particular constant, preventing these two lines to be formed. So this is a common syntax that we use in our day-to-day life while having writing objects. So basically, if we want to console this, so basically I would be getting the two values, the name as well as the email. So I would be writing the console.log name, comma email. So again, restarting my whole server. So connected to the database. So when I hit send, so I can see my name Raghav as well as my email ID. So I want to store this. I can also add a new field name as number, representing my number 987654321. Cool. So when I again send, So again, I have to declare this as number. Restart my server, and again, let's check the implementation out. And I hit send. Okay, so I have to console.log number. Cool. So when I check the implementation, so again, my number have been successfully been taken. And now, so what I will be doing is, so I would be importing this schema from this module. So what I will be doing is above this, so I would be importing the whole schema within this user model, and again along with the require function that have this schema. And again, now this is the main database model that I can use within this module. So what I can do with this is I can just declare. So basically, the term that I have declared over here is a class. So schema is a class that created an instance. Again, that contain a new class through which we can create a smaller instances. So I would be writing, declaring a variable name as new user. I would be creating a class, new class with it, new user. And what this user class would be containing is total 4 entries. That is first name, last name, email ID, and phone number. Again, we don't have the first name and as well as the last name, so I would be writing from here first name along with last name being graph. And yeah, so again, I would be writing here as first name along with last name. And let's last time test the implementation along with email. Commenting this out. npm start. And yeah, when I click on send, so yeah, definitely I would be getting the first name, last name, email ID, as well as the phone number. So what I can do is I would be creating a new instance of the user class that I have created, and I would be passing the whole object that is already that I already have. So initially, I would be copying these 4 items from the schema. Again, neglect the values. So again, the next is email ID, and the next is the phone number. Now we would be having a new values. So basically copying this, pasting directly to the value field. If you see over here, so again we have created an object with the key value pairs, denoting first name as first key and the value as the upper value. So this first name denotes the schema key, and this first name denotes the value that is being taken from the query parameters. Again, when I have created a new instance. Now I want to save this particular instance in my database. Now what I will do is simply write user dot save. So it will basically save the whole object in the database. But now obviously our save function take will take some time as our database is online. For example, if our database is online, so it will have some latency as well as the request sent to that particular Mongo database, and that would be saving that, and again we will be getting back the response. So there would be a delay in which all the operations have been performed. So basically we will be using the async await functions in order to wait for this save command to get executed, and then we would be sending the response. But if we just by default we go with this particular scenario, so So basically, it will not wait for the data to saved in the database. Rather, it will throw back a response. We want our data won't be saved within the local data or the Mongo database. So basically, instead of user, so we have to declare this new user variable over here. So it's my mistake. So I have created an instance over here. So new user dot save. So that's basically take this particular whole bunch of user object and would be saving this to our MongoDB database. And now, so I would be converting this simple synchronous function to asynchronous function, and I would be waiting till the time this new user saved to the database, and then we would be returning a response. So what we can return in the response is again the same, or we can just type true. So now let me execute it again. Now getting back to the Mongo Compass, if I hit refresh, so again a new collection have been made along with a new schema that we have already created. So as soon as we have connected to the database, Mongo itself connect to the database again. It will generate a new schema to it as we have declared it here. Mongoose.model. So it will create a new schema within our database, and now it does not have any entry. But again, when we get back to the Postman, now when I hit send, now it has given me a response of true. Now let's check our database. So when I hit refresh, so a new entry have been there within our database. So again, when I change the name to Shivai Lamba and xyz at gmail.com and 0123456789. Let's send it and test the implementation. So when I hit refresh, again, yeah, Shivai name is also there within the database. So this is the initial thing that we have done. And now what if I want to get the data from the database? So now I would be creating a new implementation as app.get having get data. So it a name of a new endpoint. So that I would be using. So again, that would be an asynchronous function. So as I want to wait for the response to fetch, and then that would be returned to the screen. Return response.json, and again that would be containing that object. So initially, I want to retrieve uh, all the list of users that are available in that module. So what I will be doing is declaring a variable user list equal to user. So at this point of time, I will be performing some operation user dot find. So this is the find operation. If you see over here, so we have a bunch of operation over here. So the first one is the find. So basically finding a particular instance from our database. If I simply write find and with along with parenthesis, so basically it give all the result within that all the data list that is available within the database. Find one means simply finding a particular one instance. Find by ID means this one. If we have this ID over here, so basically that object will be returned, and again we have a bunch of other operations too which we can perform. So we would be having the find operation to get all the user lists that are available within the database. So I have used this, but at this point of time it will not return any data as user.find will take some time to fetch all the result and give it back. So instead of that, so I would be writing await over here. So waiting for the the MongoDB to fetch all the data and then returning to it. And again, now I would be having user list uh, displayed over here. yeah, sorry, yeah. So we have already given response.json. So I have basically take all the data from this user object and return within the response of this particular function. So I would be again reinitializing the whole server, and yeah. So now getting back to the Postman, now we would be testing our new implementation. So again, copying this copying this particular port number as well as IP address. So yeah, and now I would be getting this particular endpoint get data, and when I hit send, okay, it took a particular instance, but let's see what's the error. So basically, if something goes wrong, so we can use our try catch block in order to so that our main API would keep on working. So what can be the possible error? And again, npm start. Okay, console.error is not a function because console.error is a function. So let it, let's check it out. Okay, rest is not defined. Oh, we have not declared the request and response over here. That's why it was throwing error. So there was no problem with our code base, just we have not passed the argument over here. So now when I hit send, so we successfully get all the data from the database that is available within the database. But again, when we test out the implementation again, so we have the new name ABC over here, XYZ, and again we have the phone number over here. When I hit send, so initially we have two entries, the first entry and the second entry. When I again send over here, so we have the third entry that we have made just now with this simple API request. So this is how we can use our own, we can create our own server, as well as we can connect to the Mongo database and we can do some operations over the data, how we can get the data as well as how we can throw the data to a particular API response. So in the previous module, so we have connected some of the API through the front end, and as same as that, so you can basically connect these API to the front end.